Peace and welcome in to the latest and the greatest episode of Men of a Certain Age, The Soup. As always, I'm Fro. I got my man DL from the ATL, and I got my man Panero from the 716 with us. Peace to the gods. What's going on this Sunday morning? Yes, Don, it is Sunday morning, my G. How are you?
Yeah, man. I told you last week me and my employer decided to go separate ways, so my whole week was thrown off. I actually thought today was Saturday, really to the point where I was watching the NCAA Final Four last night. I was like, why is these boys playing on Friday as opposed to the usual Saturdays? But obviously my brothers from Men of a Certain Age let me know what day it was today. And I'm here in one piece, and I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm glad your boys is with me. Appreciate it.
No doubt. Good to see you, my G. Panero, what's good up there in the 716? I heard it's a wintry blend coming.
Yeah, man, my horn just hit me and let me know it was a wintry mix, a remix up in here. You know what I'm saying? But yo, shout out to the UB women last night for winning the NIT. Yeah, they won the National Invitational Tournament against Troy. They were down by 10 at the half. Ooh, this ain't looking too good. But they fought back, and they're the champions. Shout out to the UB women.
Shout out to the UB Bulls, and I'm glad you brought that to the pod, because truthfully, that's like the first time in our lifetimes that a team from the great city of Buffalo, New York, actually won a chip,
Word, a college champion.
I mean, Bills to the Sabres to the Braves to the Stallions for the soccer league to the Bisons. You know what I mean? I think this is a first. Correct me if I'm wrong, fellas.
We got the Bandits have won, but I don't know if we consider lacrosse.
The Bandits. Shout out to the Bandits, then.
Yeah,
I was not aware of that. They did that since I've been gone, obviously.
Don't forget about the Randy Smith, Stone City, Rick James crew from the Unlimited. They won the show.
Like 5 years in a row.
Woo! Shout out to Randy Smith, man.
Shouts out.
Shout out to Randy, man. And it's funny that you bring up Randy. Here it is, man. Yesterday was the Final Four for the men. Shout out to the Houston Cougars.
Yes, sir.
For knocking off one of the Blue Bloods, one of the teams that there it is. Give it up, Don. Give it up. You know what I'm saying?
Duke on every level, no matter who they playing.
There you go.
Spoken like a true Tar Heel.
Thank you so much.
True indeed. But as we are putting the wraps on March Madness, we got Houston and Florida playing for the championship in the men's side. But this afternoon, we got to get down in Tampa between the South Carolina Lady Gamecocks and the UConn Lady Huskies from Storrs, Connecticut. Y'all know I'm pro-black like Tar. So you know who I'm rolling with, man. And I will be in my feelings should they not cut down the nets. But I'm standing still with Dawn Staley and the Lady Gamecocks, man. How you feel about that game this afternoon, Panero?
Must-see TV. This is some real get-down crossover. Dawn Staley South against the East basketball. There's a lot of UConn bias. But like Les said, pro-black like Tar. We rolling with Dawn Staley. Remember Dawn Staley had the bob and the cross and the sweet jump shot back when she was playing? She's even a better coach than she is a player. She was
I appreciate that. I saw a tweet from Jamel Hill, you know what I'm saying, the other day when they showed a picture of Dawn Staley with her bob.
Yeah.
She said she know Dawn Staley had a 92 Maxima. Back then, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, she had to with that hairstyle.
Yeah, man, that was that look. That was that look boys was looking for.
No doubt.
Back in them days, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Dawn Staley. What's your thoughts on the women's championship tonight? This afternoon, I would say.
I'm all black everything, so I'm definitely pulling with South Carolina. I would have loved to see Juju there, but I know she blew her knee out earlier in the tournament.
Yeah.
But the good thing about that, she got that NIL money, so that hopefully that'll help her out. And obviously, UConn's been getting a lot of props because of the European they got on their squad and all this type of nonsense. So again, America, they try to polarize us racially even in sports. And if they want to go like that, I'm still rolling with South Carolina. Let's go.
Thank you. No doubt. Gamecocks down. 3 out of 3 doctors agree that the Gamecocks, we want the Gamecocks to cut the nets here this afternoon, man. Shout out to Don Staley and the Lady Gamecocks, man. Man, Panero, it was an interesting week. A lot of stuff went down. First and foremost, we had Agent Earns. What did he call it? What day he called it? Was it Reckoning Day? He had some old stupid title for it.
Was it Termination Day? What was it? It was something stupid like I forgot what it's called. I forgot what it was, like Termination Day.
Inconsequential anyway.
Reclamation Day. Reclamation
Day. Because he signed into place all of these tariffs across the world to these countries. And right away, you know what happened? People's 401k. You got people again crying about, we didn't vote for this. And once again, fellas, I'm going to go back to what I said a couple pods ago about the tornado. The tornado aspect of it was they thought that tornado was going to land in certain spots and hop right over them and land somewhere else. It don't work like that. As they say, ish runs downhill. And it's running downhill in big steps. We're going to talk about Senator Cory Booker. Cory Booker got up in front of the Senate and actually barked for 24 hours. You know what I mean? Definitely want to get y'all thoughts on that and how y'all felt about that. Matter of fact, let's jump into that real quick. Let's do that.
That boy broke Strom Thurmond's record.
Yeah.
Strom Thurmond was up there speaking for a whole day about why they shouldn't have the Civil Rights Bill passed. So to see Cory Booker not only being a black man knock that down, but also change the topic for the longest speech to this is amazing, man, because Strom Thurmond was definitely one of the most racist people in the history of the United States. Clearly.
The power of the people is greater than the people in power. It is time to heed the words of the man. I began this whole thing with John Lewis. I beg folks to take his example of his early days where he made himself determined to show his love for his country at a time the country didn't love him, to love this country so much, to be such a patriot that he endured beatings savagely on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, at lunch counters, on freedom rides. He said he had to do something. He would not normalize a moment like this. He would not just go along with business as usual. He wouldn't know how to solve it. But there's one thing that he would do that I hope we all can do that I think I did a little bit of tonight. He said for us to go out and cause some good trouble, necessary trouble, to redeem the soul of our nation. I want you to redeem the dream. Let's be bold in America, not to mean and degrade Americans, not divide us against each other. Let's be bolder in America with a vision that inspires, with hope that starts with the people of the United States of America. That's how this country started. We, the people. Let's get back to the ideals that others are threatening. Let's get back to our founding documents, that those imperfect geniuses had some very special words at the end of the Declaration of Independence. It was one of the greatest in all of humanity declarations of interdependence. When our founder said we must mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. We need that now from all Americans. This is a moral moment. It's not left or right, it's right or wrong. Let's get in good trouble. My friend, Madam President, I yield the floor.
So, Cory Booker, man, I've been following Cory Booker since he was the mayor of New York, New Jersey. Right. You know what I mean? Living in the hood, not living in the mayor's house or whatever. Basically living in the hood, doing in the hood. Then followed him from there to a congressman to being a senator. I like Cory Booker, but I don't know that standing up there for 24 hours and talking good sense is enough. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that it shows his resolve to impart how serious this thing is. If you stand up there for 25 hours and talk consecutively without going to the bathroom, without passing out, without eating, that takes a certain amount of determination and discipline and desire to get your point across. So I commend him for that. What we do need now, though, however, is more action and less of symbolism. Symbolism is only going to take us but so far when we are being physically, economically attacked on a daily basis. And those things are real. Like I said, I commend him for not eating since Friday and then stop drinking the night before so that he can have the physical fortitude to do what he needed to do. But at this point, we need some more action as opposed to just firebranding speeches. We need action.
Panero, when you heard that Cory Booker went up in front of the Senate and filibustered for 25 hours, what was your thoughts on the situation?
I commend him. Just the preparation in order to do that, Don was saying. I read somewhere that he actually fasted like way before, just so his body was ready to stand up there for over 24 hours. The people that were actually there, you can't leave when someone's filibustering. So you have to sit through it. So even if you want to go to the restroom or go take a puff or whatever, you can't leave until he's finished. So he did that, making sure he got his point across. And if I was there, I probably would agree with 99% of what he was saying, because I follow, like Les said, I follow Cory Booker also, and thought that he'd be a great candidate for president of the United States. But at the same time, us men of a certain age, man, it all comes full circle to where we feel like rhetoric, man. It's a lot of talk and there's a lot of good talk. But good talk if it doesn't turn into any actual action, it's just rhetoric to me. But I commend him on one end, but on the other side, get on the grounds and let's do something, man. Let's do something.
And it's good that you mentioned that. And I've always said from the beginning when we started building it, it's going to be we, the people, right?
Yeah.
That are going to be the cause of the change. Because once things get serious and stuff start running downhill, as I said earlier, it's going to start affecting your next door neighbor and their next door neighbor. And that's when it starts to say, you know what, man, we got to go out in the streets and take it to the streets. And that's what happened over the weekend. And I got a lot to say on that, but let's take a look at the march that happened on this weekend.
Good evening. It's 5 o'clock. I'm Chris Ty. Welcome to our viewers on our digital streaming network, CBS News Chicago. That video behind me, the biggest protest in Chicago since President Trump took office. A significant crowd spilled out of Daily Plaza and filling up the streets of Chicago. The anti-Trump hands-off protest, as it's called. 100 taking place simultaneously nationwide. Arnold Brennan was on the ground speaking with protesters about their biggest concerns.
I haven't seen a demonstration this big in Chicago ever.
Like oceans of people.
But it looks like this entire square is full. When a protest gets too big for Daily Plaza, people stand where they can.
In the middle of the street.
This crowd stands against President Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk. We will not be silent. Their message is hands off. Hands off! A protest against the administration's actions to cut government jobs, shutter agencies, deport immigrants, impose tariffs, and more. I am concerned about people being kidnapped off the streets and shipped to hellhole prisons. I am concerned about our economy tanking. I'm concerned about the fact that we have a president who doesn't care about people.
Things are being defunded. People are losing their jobs. Just really terrible things are happening in this country.
There's something that every single person in America cares about that these people are attacking.
This is one of more than 1,200 demonstrations happening all over the country. There are protests in all 50 states. Here in Chicago, Daily Plaza is overflowing. After speeches, the people here will hit the pavement to march.
And look at this crowd. I haven't seen a crowd this big. This is great.
The crowd in Chicago marches about a mile. As miles away, hands-off protests take place in the burbs, from Highland Park to Schaumburg to Lisle.
All these people have all of the power right in their hands.
A group of seniors in Edgewater can't make it downtown, so they protest in front of their retirement community.
Donald Trump has made.
A nationwide movement of people want the country to change its direction.
This goes beyond politics. It's not about politics. It's about caring about each other and showing compassion instead of power hungriness.
Noel Brennan, CBS News, Chicago.
Meanwhile, 45 protests are scheduled across our state today, including 4 of them right here in South Florida.
Local 10's Hannah Yashivi joining us live from one of them in Hollywood, just now getting underway. Hannah.
Andrew, Alexis, more than 100 people are already here at Young Circle in Hollywood protesting some of the most recent moves from the Trump administration. Just take a listen for yourself what some of these people are saying.
People, united, we'll never be divided. Good people, united, we'll never be
Some of these people here have signs that read, "Hands off democracy, hands off social security, no dictators, stand up and fight," just to name a few. These people are all here against President Donald Trump's most recent actions, including government downsizing, the economy, human rights, and other issues. People who work for the Trump administration have been saying his policies are in the best interest of the United States. But all of these people who are gathering right here this morning at
Trump
Young
is a
Circle in
turd,
Hollywood
flush him.
think otherwise. Don't think thousands of federal workers should be fired, or close entire agencies, deport immigrants, scale back protections for transgender people, or cut monies for health programs. So once again, as you can see right here, these protesters are against some of these most recent moves by billionaire Elon Musk and President Donald Trump. So back out here live, these protesters are not only gathering right here in Hollywood, but we are expecting to see more crowds all throughout South Florida and in all 50 states. That's the very latest from Hollywood. Hannah Yashivi, Local 10 News.
Tariffs this week, workers at carmaker Stellantis were worrying about their futures. The company announced Thursday it is temporarily laying off 900 workers at 5 U.S. plants and halting production at 1 each in Mexico and Canada. Denny Butler is vice president of the United Auto Workers Local 685, representing Stellantis workers in Indiana.
We've got a group of 470-some people out there that are starting to worry. They don't know if they need to go find another job or not. That's the frustrating part, because it's our job to be able to help and reach out and guide those people and give them an honest opinion on what they need to do, and we can't. That's the frustrating part.
Trump broadened tariffs to a 10% baseline on all U.S. imports, with higher rates for countries with the highest U.S. trade deficits. This followed last week's announcement of 25% duties on all auto imports, which shocked the global car industry. In a letter sent to employees on Thursday morning, Stellantis' America's chief said the company is, quote, continuing to assess the medium and long-term effects of these tariffs, but had decided to take some immediate actions. On Thursday, Stellantis shares dropped 9.3% in New York. Shares of Ford, General Motors, and Tesla also fell sharply after the tariff announcements. Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer said on X that the layoffs are a horrifying consequence of Trump's tariffs, and American workers are paying the price. The White House declined immediate comment on the Stellantis job cuts. Trump and his administration have said that short-term pain would lead to long-term economic benefits for U.S. industries and workers, with higher wages and more jobs.
I agree with the intent and what they're trying to do with the tariffs and bring jobs back. I just think the immediate effect right here, look, they just made the announcement yesterday afternoon. Is when Trump made the announcement, and Stellantis didn't waste no time announcing 900 people are going to be affected. And I think that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Shit.
really wonderful to have.
So here it is. We got protests across all 50 states. Majority of those, the big ones, are in blue states, right? You know what I mean? Then you got this guy from the UAW talking about he understands and he supports what they're trying to do. You don't even know what they're doing. So how do you understand and how do you support what they're trying to do.
They don't know what they're doing.
Exactly. And my second thing is all those folks out there in these marches. I'm glad ain't none of us out there heavy. You know what I'm saying? Because this is day mess. All those folks out there marching, I bet you 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10 voted for Trump. Your thoughts, UH?
It just, again, it goes back to my common thing, the stupidity of Americans. Literally, he let chase the bouncing ball. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, and the gangs are taking over the projects, and there's a transgender football player, and all these types of things that were social issues that really don't have major impact on American lives as a whole. He let people get caught up in identity politics. And that's the way that he won the race, because he had people so concerned and so arguing about the little things that affect a very few amount of people, that they took their eye off the big things that were going to affect everybody. And now you're seeing it. You're seeing the stupidity of people who sat around, oh, Trump's my guy and he's for me, and he's gonna get rid of the loud Mexicans next door, and he's gonna lock up all the drug dealers and get rid of the bad ones. I know you're a good one. I know you're a good one, Don, but you know, he's gonna get rid of Pedro and Jose. And you know what? Juan, you're okay too, but he's gonna get rid of the bad ones. No, he's getting rid of everybody. He's getting rid of everybody, and he told you what he was going to do. He told you he was going to impose tariffs, which are quite possibly the worst economic system that you can make. Yeah. The last time they had tariffs was about 90 years ago, and that shit lasted for 3 months. And it actually drove the United States into a deeper depression. So I don't know what the end game is. I don't think they know what the end game is. If you're talking about bringing back factory and manufacturing, how long does it take to build a factory? How long does it take to fill that factory? Where are those raw materials going to come from? So, you know, exactly, who's going to work in it? And so it really doesn't make any economic sense. It's purely ego at this point. And now it's hurting everyone in the world because our world economy is so intertwined. Not only is he hurting Americans, which he told you he was going to do, but he's hurting the rest of the world. And you know what? The world is going to hit back, and they're going to hit back as hard as they can. Unfortunately, like you said, we're locked in the back of we're in the car with this fool. They got the gun to our head, and with the child locks on, so we can't jump out. We just have to find a way to survive the crash. Put our seatbelt on.
So Panero, you know about working in the plant. You know how these Europeans think and how they move. It's us and everybody else.
Yeah.
They thinking all of these things that Trump was going to do was going to affect me, Don, and you, and Hector, and Jose, and Ali, and the rest. But they didn't calculate that their asses would be on the line too. Right. Now they want to go out in the streets and protest. What's your thoughts when you see these people out here with these signs, Trump is a turd, flush him?
There were protests here in the city, down at City Hall in Buffalo. There were a lot of people down there. And my ancestors were whispering in my ear, stay your black ass home, because I wasn't going down there. I protested when I went to the voting booth. That's when all of this should have happened. You should have all went to the voting booth and voted for someone who was going to help the American people, not put them in temporary pain situations. What kind of president is going to tell you that you're going to have to suffer temporarily? What kind of shit is that? That's a president who's not for the people. He's a servant of the people, but to him, he's a king. You know that 10 out of the 11 recessions that happen in this country are under Republicans? You should be able to see this coming. But because we are Black people and because we know how to survive, we'll be fine. We'll go into survival mode, even though we might not know what day it is sometimes here and there. We know how to survive. We gonna make it through this shit. So again, we saw this shit coming. Men of a certain age warned you about Project 2025. This is Project 2025. They're trying to create a recession so that bigger businesses can buy the smaller businesses. It's happening right in front of our eyes. I'm scared to look at my stock options. I don't even want to look at it because I know it's all red and it's all going down. But again, we're survivors here. And it's going to be a tough time, but we got to stick together and help each other out.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
They said that this dude was golfing yesterday and didn't go meet the bodies of these soldiers who lost their lives in a training op in Lithuania.
Because they're suckers and losers.
Exactly.
That's how he sees.
That's how they see. That's how he sees them.
Yeah.
But let these Europeans tell it. He loves America. He's going to do everything he can to protect us and make that. And the funny thing to me is this, fellas, is when he talks about these tariffs and he's talking about we're gonna make America so rich, and I'm like,
for who?
Thinking to myself, right? How does that help me? How does that trickle down to me somehow?
It's not.
Elon Musk is getting a $5 billion contract. That's gonna benefit me somehow, some way. That's gonna trickle its way down to me so that I can have some benefits from that. It's a damn shame, man. But sometimes, as they say, a hard head makes a soft behind. As our kids, as our parents told us when we were little, that stove is hot.
Yeah.
Don't touch that stove. You're going to somehow, some way, you're going to wiggle over there because your parents or your mom or I told my son, don't do that. You got to find out for yourself. And the term is F around and find out. That's what the term is nowadays.
Yep.
And they finding out right now. Now y'all want to go out in the streets heavy and do this protesting. Like you said, P, you protested in the ballot box. And I said this to y'all in a pod a while ago. And that's the reason why I believe the fix is in. Because it was too much, everybody against Trump. And even in the aftermath on my TL, it's so many people crying and what's going on. And it's like, how does everybody have this ideal or had that notion? And this dude, not just won, he won in a blowout. I'm going to take that to my grave that this shit was fixed, man. Yeah. Here you got Mr. Techie himself as his right-hand man. Is this not a coincidence? Is this not a coincidence? The real big homie had to distance himself from Jeremiah Wright because Jeremiah pulpit speaking the truth. He had to distance himself from this man. And then y'all let Mr. Wizard pull up right to the presidency, and this man wins in a landslide, and it's not. Nobody's saying what?
Where's the outrage?
Nobody's saying is that's strange. All of a sudden, Elon is his best friend, and he wins the election in a landslide.
All the swing states. Come on, man.
It's crazy. But again, they didn't think the shit was going to affect them. We did a pod with your man, Hector, got pulled over in a truck with his mans in them, and they took his mans in them, and then what's the first thing he said? I thought he was only going to deport the bad ones.
Yeah. They have a tattoo that may even suggest you might be a part of something illegal, or they might snatch you up and send you to Venezuela. So my suggestion, Don, when you're doing your gardening, don't wear the sombrero, B.
Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. I was thinking that my job, my old employer better be glad I'm really not a dick, because I definitely would call ICE up there and let them have it, because I already know what's going on up in there with non-citizens and so on and so forth. And I could literally do it. I can call it on literally every floor in that building, because there's mad Asians up in there. I'm sure all of them ain't all the way, you know what I'm saying? There's mad Hispanics up in there. And I haven't really heard, I've heard a few raids on European immigrants. I've actually heard that. They bagged a couple of them boys, but not with the extent that they're bagging the Hispanic or the Haitians or anything like that, or the West Africans, pardon me, like that. These people are different, man. They planned for it. They told us what they were going to do, and they're doing it. And Fro always says, it's not tic-tac-toe, it's not any, meeny, miny, mo.
Nope.
It's you and you. You know what I mean? So it's happening for everybody. It's crazy, man.
It's sad. It's necessary. So I want to show y'all this next clip. And this next clip I'm gonna show y'all is somebody we all know. We might not have watched this show all the time or every Sunday to tune in on Sunday morning. Your man Fareed Zakaria.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I like Fareed. Yeah, Fareed drops it.
Around the world. Yeah.
Master Fareed. He gonna jump on and he gonna say some things. I've never seen Fareed just open up with both barrels on a boy. So that stuff is serious. Check Fareed out, y'all.
The op-ed that you wrote, Trump's trade war on reality. You're blunt and you use words you don't always use. You say capricious, destructive, and dumb way, talking about how Trump is using American power tonight.
This may be the biggest economic policy-making error of my lifetime. I've never seen anything like this. You are seeing the verdict already in from the markets. And the stock market is not the economy, Aaron, but the stock market, the bond market, the commodity markets, everybody is signaling that this was a disaster and it's going to be more pain to come. There's only two occasions I can recall when markets have gone so badly askew, so fast, all at once. And that was the pandemic and the 2008 global financial crisis. But at least in those cases, those were genuine crises. Here you have an own goal. You have an unforced error of policy making, creating a global financial crisis. The more you have tariffs, the more you have these kind of blanket political decisions that govern the economy, the more businessmen have to curry favor with politicians. You know, what's extraordinary is the American economy was always about the fact that you just did your business. You didn't have to worry about the government that much, light hand of regulation, lower taxes than in, say, Europe. What Trump is creating is an economy in which everyone is going to have to come to Washington to beg for a favor, for an exemption, for a special rate, whether you're free, whether you're a company. It's really fundamentally un-American. It is the opposite of what the American economy is supposed to be, which is a free economy without you having to curry favor with
Fareed Zakaria.
Fareed is spitting the truth. This guy, it's intentional. I've watched BBC News, I've watched CNBC, I've watched news from Al Jazeera. I watched about 4 different French TV, 4 different French international TV, actually. I watched about 4 different international networks talk about how this is dumb. It doesn't make any sense, and it's going to hurt people. And we are not conspiracy theorists, but we are living in reality.
Right.
There is obviously something going on that we have no idea about, or maybe we have a general idea about. I think my personal view is that they want to bankrupt the world so that all the oligarchs can come in and snatch up as much as they can and reduce the major population to just workers, like a communism across the board, a Russian communism across the board. Those may be or Chinese, probably more of a Chinese model, because the citizens actually have room for advancement, but there are so many different other things that go along with that. But that is probably the reason that all of these things are happening, because they're trying to bankrupt people, man. I think it's really a system where they're trying to reduce people to absolute subservience, so that they know that if you don't do what they say that you're supposed to do a certain way, guess what? You can't survive. And that's the way that they're trying to make America and the rest of the world. And I just never expected something to happen like this. Now, I'm not a big investor in 401k because I haven't had a lot of jobs in my life, but I do have investments in Bitcoin, gold, things of that nature. Gold off the chain this week, right? Off the chain. If you want to reinvest your money to something, I'll always suggest gold. But the way that I would hate to have a 401k and look at that shit and see what he's done to my savings. And I really hate that he's done that, because my mom just retired, you know what I mean? So her retirement and pension are heavily based upon the stock market. And I would say 85% of Americans who have retired, their pensions are based upon that as well. It's unnecessary pain for who knows what gain.
So if you think about it, that's why them Europeans left Europe, was, what is it, indentured servitude, right?
Indentured servitude, correct.
That's why them Europeans jetted from Europe to come over here, start anew. You know what I mean? And now they're trying to actually revert back to that if you really think about it. Fareed get on the mic and actually shoot some real stuff from the hip.
Right from the hip. Fareed looked like he should have been on Men of a Certain Age with us the way he was coming out with it. But I think people have to realize that this is the hugest, with these tariffs, this is the hugest tax hike in the history of the country. Everything is going to go up, from gas to food to clothing. This is hitting you right in the face. And this guy is doing it right in your face. Don't you realize it? How could you support a man in office doing this? It's ridiculous. And all the economists say, tariffs never work. It's going to end up being to a point where we're in a recession. And I think it is what Trump is doing. And Elon, like Don said a few pods ago, we're upset with Trump, obviously, because he's a figurehead, but it's really the people behind him that's running everything, the Heritage Group and all these billionaires. He's just the front man. They're telling him what to do and what to say and keeping his pockets filled. But because he is the front man, he's going to get the business from everybody. They're putting us in a position where when this recession kicks in, and all these people like Sumitomo Tire here who got out of Dodge because they knew it was coming, someone's going to come in and buy that company for a short, and they'll hire people for lower wages and make money off of it. It's just a huge scam. It's the biggest scam I've ever seen. And it's horrible because it's hurting the people.
It's crazy. Just like your man, Mark Cuban sent that tweet out that I shot y'all about going to the store and buying soap and toothpaste and mouthwash and toilet paper and stuff like that before when they renew their inventory, because that's when they're going to hike it up. That's what's going to happen. As we all know, they're going to raise the prices, and then they're going to blame it on the tariff, whereas they're just doing more corporate greed. As I said, man, it's going to come down to we the people. And at the end of the day, we as Black people, we ain't messing with a lot of these Europeans right now because we fingering them for him being in the office right now. A lot of them voted crazily. And me, myself, I'm going to hang on to that whole Elon Musk fixed the whole damn thing. I'm telling y'all, man, I'm hanging on to that with two hands, and I'm white knuckling, hanging on to that, man, because it just, to me, it just didn't add up. It didn't add up like that. But again, I'm underestimating America's racism and chauvinism. Maybe I'm underestimating it, P.
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. A lot of white supremacy, a lot of misogyny, and a lot of technology. You know what I'm saying? You combine all of that together, you come up with Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is Starlink, and he wants these government contracts. He wants to fire people. He's a child of apartheid. He don't care. He doesn't care about the people of this country. So he's going to get what he can get while Trump is in office. And like Don was saying earlier, okay, now the guy from the UAW was saying he can understand why there's our terrorists, blase splee. How could you understand that? Within a 4-year term, how are they going to have companies come to this country and build and get employees that are going to work for a short? It's just not going to happen. This is a scam. They're using the tariffs as a way to actually just ruin the country so they can buy everything up. It's just that simple. I don't see how people can't. They don't see it. Get it.
Get that damn Cybertruck, that protractor, the hell out of here, man.
Yeah, get it on out.
Terrible. And what people don't realize, or what people don't think about, is the fact that of the 3 major economic downturns in the century that we've had, 2008, 2022, and now, who was in charge doing 2 of them?
Republicans.
Yeah.
Not even Republicans, specifically Trump.
Donald created this crisis. He's creating a crisis where this shouldn't have to be one. I can see COVID, I understand, but you're creating a crisis with tariffs. Come on, B.
I don't even understand COVID because they left a pandemic.
Oh, they got rid of the pandemic team that Barack had set aside.
Exactly.
Right.
So, no, I don't understand nothing this dude has done. And, and I refuse to give him any excuses because he's obviously an egomaniac, and that's the way the other countries are looking at him like, oh, he thinks he's going to force us into negotiations. No, that's not going to happen. Right. We're going to go ahead and do regional alliances. Now you got Japan, Korea, and China working together. You know what I'm saying? What is wrong with this dude, man? It doesn't make America's not that great, bro. This is not 1952. You are not Dwight Eisenhower. This is not then. It will never be then. And I've said it, and I've said it, and I've said it, and I've said it. The media is responsible for this whole shit because they raised a generation of people who thought that they were entitled to a certain thing because of their skin color. And once they saw people continuously being elevated in that skin color and felt threatened by another skin color, what they did is they created a superhero who's a fucking idiot and who was ruining their lives. But they're so stupid, they don't even realize what's happening because you know what? He's a white guy like us and he's rich and he never did that to us. Are you kidding me?
So let me hit y'all with this. Rupert Murdoch came into power because of us. And follow me. When he started Fox, right? What shows was holding down Fox?
Living Color?
All the black shows.
Martin.
All the black shows.
What was the New York Undercover?
Living Single. All the black shows.
It was all us that strengthened him. Even before Bart Simpson, it was us. Yep. Bart Simpson piggybacked off of us. We actually, once again, gave that man a foundation to build upon.
Yep.
He greenlit the shows. Well, Fox greenlit the shows that ABC, NBC, and CBS would not greenlight for us. NBC gave us the Cosby Show, and they gave us A Different World. Those two were the two. And then what Fox do? They come out with all the black shows.
Yep.
And all of us start watching Fox. And then Fox blows up. And then next thing you got Fox News.
Yep.
We played a part in that, man. And not bragging or boasting. It's just a fact to that. He built Fox off of black folks because he programmed it with black shows.
Yep.
And we watched. And I'm saying that to say this, man. Andrew Schulz.
Ooh.
He's been in the Super a couple times. And once again, we are giving this man air. Why is he in the culture? Why are our platforms giving this man, who we know he doesn't love us, he loves what we do? You know what I'm saying? Because he can profit off of what we do. See Adam 12. See DJ VLAC. They pimp our culture for their benefits. So this Andrew Schulz cat popped up on the pivot with Ryan Clark, Fred T, and your boy, what's the other cat's name? Went to Florida. Light-skinned dude. His name will come to me shortly.
Linebacker dude?
Yeah. Channing Crowder.
Crowder, yeah.
So he goes on their platform, whereas like 2 weeks before, he was on Club Shay Shay. Why you platforming this dude and introducing him to more of us? So his crowd were expand. And I can understand he's bringing his viewership to Club Shay Shay or to the pivot. But again, man, all money ain't good money. So let's jump into this Andrew Schulz situation real quick, fellas.
About it recently because you said something to Shannon and you talked to Charlemagne. I was like, everything that you say about me is fair to me. Like, you have an opportunity to rebuttal, respond to anything, because when I spoke about you, it wasn't something that was addressed to me. I involved myself. I understand this game, these platforms, is that, okay, he's going to respond, and he should. Yeah. So I have no problem with that. What was, in your responding, it's been a while, what made you finally say something? Were you just asked about it, or?
I forget exactly what happened on Shannon. I'm sure that the cognac had something to do with it. You get loose on that Shannon Sharp podcast. No, I don't know why exactly I responded there because I didn't respond on any other thing.
Yeah.
And then maybe I said something since. I was looking back at the response. I thought that it was like unfair how I framed the thing. I texted you this, so it's like weird to have this conversation in person, even though we've already texted. So I thought it was unfair that I was like, you said that I said the N-word, something like that, or wanted to say the N-word. So which wasn't what you said. Like, I'm sure everybody's probably seen that clip that listens to the podcast right now. But I think it seemed as if you were trying to explain these things that are like troubling for you culturally. My initial reaction was obviously this thing like, why is he talking about this and like me right now? Like, what's the moment? And that's why I thought it was clout. And then when you text me, you're like, I have a lot of Black women that are in my life that are going, hey, you need to address this. You need to understand this. You need to protect us. And I was like, okay, I get that. It's like more of a protective instinct. And I was like, okay, I understand where that's coming from. And like, I think that's noble. Like, I'm fine with that. And like, people are allowed to react however they want to jokes. I think that's like a misconception with comedians that like, you have to like our jokes. Like, I didn't even think the joke was that good. But it was, yeah, I didn't think it was that good, but it was a joke. And the intention was to make people laugh. And I think the issue I had with what you said was that like, I felt it was framed as if like, I was unaware of these things that you were saying. You were like, I want to tell you what like Black women mean to me. And then you told like beautiful stories about your mother and what she did for you and like your wife and what she was doing for you when your health was bad. You know what I mean? And I'm listening to this and I'm like, wow, like Black women will do anything for their children. They'll do anything for their husband when they're sick. And I was like, I think my mom and wife were Black. I get the joke. I get the joke. I guess what I'm trying to say is the other piece of it too, Andrew, is that white women haven't been under attack in this country for their entire existence. Right? And so it wasn't about the nobility of it for me. It was about that in this platform where I have a space, where I have a voice. Yeah. This is something that has been said. This is something that is being circulated. Yeah. And if the two Black men that were sitting across from you would have addressed it a different way, even if they would have maybe laughed and it felt like a joke. Yeah, it was an uncomfortable situation where what you said was neither refuted or agreed to, and it wasn't presented as a joke. And in the same space where I feel like if you're sitting on flagrant, you don't think I presented it as a joke? It didn't feel like a joke. Oh, anything you do in stand-up, when you are doing stand-up, like I watched your stand-up, I enjoyed it, and I was like, okay, like this is funny. And when you're talking about the Latina nurse and all those things, I was like, I get it, because we're in, whether we go back to Wanda or Shanae, we're going to do the extreme of the stereotype. I get that. Yeah. In that conversation, and all jokes, and you know this, like you've been punched in the face on stage before, right? Yeah. All jokes are really as funny as the people who comprehend them and digest them. I debate that, obviously, but however somebody takes a joke, they're right. If you don't find something funny, you're right. You're allowed to react however you want to whatever I say. The tricky thing is when like we start trying to decide what the intention is. Because my intention is always like when I'm making a joke is to make people laugh, to bring joy to the world. And sometimes, as you see with my special, I'm making jokes about myself for an hour about like really vulnerable stuff shit. And then sometimes I'm making jokes about a culture that I go visit. I go to Abu Dhabi and I make fun of all of them in an arena out there. And it's this big fun experience. And I've done that for the last almost 20 years. I've built this audience, and if you come to one of my shows, it's by far the most diverse audience in all of comedy. And I mean that of any comedian. It's by far. So it's clearly, I'm talking about cultures in a way where they don't feel bullied.
Okay, let me just ask this. Who do you know that's been to an Andrew Schulz comedy show?
I don't know anyone.
So for him to say that is the most culturally diverse, I would have to go to his show and see a mixed crowd of us and them. For him to say, I would dare to say his show ain't as diverse as fucking Chappelle.
No.
We know Europeans love
Dave Chappelle.
Love him.
And I don't know anybody who's ever been to this dude's comedy show. And then secondly, for him to demo black women like that. Once again, we always say, don't paint us all. We are not a monolith. You know what I'm saying? Don't think which on Twitter or on Facebook is all black women.
Right.
Because we know that ain't the case. When you see him up there pontificating with Ryan Clark, and I apologize to the suit, man. Please share, subscribe, and comment down below for the audio being behind. But when you hear him up there on a black platform with 3 black men talking like that, and then he blatantly mocked RC with that little AS pendant he has, because y'all see RC on TV, he'll have that RC pendant on his lapel. So he come through the door mocking. What's your thoughts on Andrew Schulz?
Not an Andrew Schulz fan. Like I said, I've been aware of him for quite some time. I'm watching his shorts, his crowd work. He's pretty good at spontaneous comedy. But I've never been a fan of him. I've never been a fan of anyone who primarily uses us to solidify their audience, right? So by him taking the route that he's taken, he reminds me of Gary Owens, but just a little less tolerable. You know what I mean? And with the picture that you just put up, it shows us the two people who want to fit in. I want what you've got, Andrew Schulz, and I want what you got, Charlamagne. So they work together well. And that's what my thing is now. If we're gonna talk, we talked last week about LeBron James, right? About why he went to McAfee on that platform and so on and so forth, when he could have went to all 5 different other podcasts that we named that were primarily people, primarily us. And the wild thing about this is that we are accepting of someone who's basically disrespected our culture, is going to continue to disrespect our culture, and thinks that it's funny, and does it all in the name of comedy and or laugh. It's very tricky when you invite someone into the house. And I think he's gotten comfortable and copped a spot on the couch, and he really doesn't need to stay. He needs to go back to where he came from. I have zero love for the dude. Zero.
Actually, Charlamagne the Fraud and Andrew, they got a lot in common. They're both married to white women, Pete.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Charlamagne's wife is white?
Huh?
Don't tell me that.
I had no idea. Bro, I had no idea his wife was white.
Google, here I come.
Wow. The thing about with Schulz is he's just like he's a habitual over-the-line stepper. Subconsciously racist, I think, to be honest with you. No. I think he's an insurrectionist type comedian. Those who were a part of the insurrection are fans of his. He's that type of comedian. And to have him on your show is what Don would say would be capitalism over community. If you already know about this guy and how he feels, why would you have him on your show? Obviously, because you want the eyes, the clicks, the sponsors, because you want that crowd to look at your show. It's like, how far do you go to have someone on your show that you know isn't really about you and get right in your face and tell you it's all for laughs? Come on, man. This shit ain't all for laughs. You saying that shit because that's how you feel. And the fact that you're not funny makes your shit even worse. So it's just, come on, man. Ryan Clark, you would think they have some type of respect for themselves. And again, I understand the business aspect of it, but sometimes all business ain't good business. You don't need him on your show, man. How about I just put out fuck Andrew Schulz, man. That's how I feel.
Or he would have got better views had he
came after him.
Instead of going up there and trying to be having a conversation, get up there and let this nigga know what the fuck it is and how it's perceived. And we don't get on like that.
Exactly.
Trump, it kills me, man. Trump can disrespect, call people names and all this other type of stuff. And then people want to get up there and try to be what's the word I'm looking for? Cordial. They want to get up there and be cordial. No, man. The cordial shit then went out the door when this dude got the second term.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? He Bigfooting everybody and everything. So when people getting Bigfoot, or when you and your back is against the wall, you ain't trying to be nice. You trying to let that person know this is where I'm coming from, and this is where we at right here. And I respect RC. Sometimes RC can be a little full of himself. He tweeted out about him catching heat for having him on his platform, and then we went into to try to understand people and this and that. You got to talk to him to try to have some. No, you don't have to have no conversation to know that this guy's a jackass and a racist. His actions show you how he moving. Oh, let's transition. Speaking of jackasses, let's transition into Kanye West.
Wow. I might have to take a smoke break, man.
That is the reaction I wanted.
Yeah.
That's the reaction that we should have when this guy gets on the stage and does this.
How you doing, brother? Good. That's crazy.
Check out his necklace.
And he got on Sean John too.
Place of refuge right quick. The legend, man. How do you stay?
Wow.
This nigga got on the swastika?
Yeah, B.
I thought we were gonna do it in the warehouse.
No, right? South swastika?
I was gonna do the interview with you yesterday, and I was doing it earlier, and blah blah.
I seen it online shit. I'm damn. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah, so I just got like a little bit exhausted from that bullshit. It was just.
I get it.
This fool got a iced out swastika.
This guy, man.
Why do you think Nazis mess with black folks? Is he not black? Is that his angle?
All right. I think my job is decent.
How is that
mental disorder?
Is that a game? What game is that? Oh, what do you play on that? Like Pokemon?
I think that his thing is he hates the Jews so much that he wants to be a Nazi. I think that's really what it is. I think it's the whole anti-Semitic thing.
With like some NPCs like banging it out type shit.
On steroids, right?
Yeah, on meth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Ketamine.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Pink cocaine. Yeah. He going with it. He got the pink. Man, because this don't make no sense. This don't make no sense. And like he just looks past the culture, man. He looks past us. I don't understand that, bro.
Listen, dog, when he turned the corner like this, I would have had to step out. It's one thing for him to have a Nazi piece on, but when he step out like this, I'd have had to step off.
But look at who's doing the interview, Fro.
Yeah, his grandparents never saw a Klansman. His parents never saw a Klansman, so yeah, we not gonna even. I'm surprised he know what the Klan is with his stupid ass.
Suckademics.
Hat forward or backwards. My hat, not the other. This way or this way. This is like the classic look.
You know what I don't like? I'm a real quick sidebar. I don't like when a boy wear a hat over his dress.
I'll let it go. But yeah, nah. Okay, you could get a good angle if I'm sitting here.
Oh, what the hell? Come on. Come on, son.
It's like magnetic. So long goes in here.
That shows you the character of Akademiks, as if we didn't know already.
I would have shot his ass if he came out there like that.
You need to bust down chain too, man.
And he complimented his chain.
Made it bust, but
he gonna pull it out.
I wanted to wear it with this, but the part comes out a little bit too low. Like it need to sit right there. I got a white leather one and fall right in the perfect place.
Really?
Yeah. You got a white leather one too.
Absolutely. the leather, the nigga KK shit. Once again, I think the best place for the photo. Can we move that to the side? Damn, can't move this shit up. It'll be like here, or.
Bro, he's just a designer at heart.
I need to get a Barry if you had that cheer.
If we had two of them, right, it would probably work. If you're looking for that type of look.
I should just stand. The best thing would be right here. And then you put your chair right there. Take my Timbs.
Somebody Timbs.
Yeah, if you.
Get this out the way.
Wow. Yeah, perfect. So you take that out of the way. So we just have this framing right here.
Okay. So move this or keep it?
Yeah.
This is the middle? Or
this dude got a double-breasted Klan robe.
That bullshit. Yeah. Now, how would you? What's the frame
No,
look?
ridiculous.
Right, but also, be nice if you sat back here, you can get like a full frame. Now, do you want to talk to me or stand when I'm here? Like this.
Oh my God.
I'm letting you set this down right now. What do you think?
I should have to throw the boots on with it.
Oh my God.
I mean, what is
Surprised they ain't putting no Yeezy slides.
Nah, funny thing is, I really wanted to wear it yesterday, but I thought they would put me in a hospital for my outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah, a mental hospital.
Would put me in the hospital for my outfit. So
even yesterday, I'm watching the video, and who do you think, like someone knocks on the door, that's what the tweet said, or the video said.
Yeah.
Who do you think that is, and what do you think? Obviously, you're saying things that how you feel at the moment, and some people might feel like you're ruffling feathers, but who do you think would care that much that they would want to threaten your life? Because you do feel like your life is a little bit threatened, right?
yeah, I think I definitely, when I start bossing up for my kids, I definitely feel, a second, let me just. Yeah, I definitely feel that I was pushing life to the limit by pushing into the truth of the week. That wasn't surprising when I put that image up of my youngest daughter.
Yeah.
That wasn't like the most surprising idea, but it'd be things that happen that we know happen that we just can't do anything about. But then they push whatever agendas like on the media that they want us to focus on. And that's something where, I don't know who the people are, so it would sound like real conspiracy theory. I just know that the kid from Lincoln Park got killed for expressing some of these same truths. And for me, just as a father.
So I'm not interested in what he had to say
about anything.
I just wanted y'all to get your eyes on this black man jumping up and wearing a Klan suit. It's sickening. I see your brothers are speechless.
I rolled my ankle. And I think I ripped an Achilles on this one, bro. You got to go fast. You got to go first, man. I think I ripped my Achilles.
Yeah, I put myself in the position of if I was interviewing, shout out to Joe Button, man, because I was watching this podcast, and I feel the same way. If I go to interview Kanye and we're talking for a couple seconds, he lets me in, he leaves and comes back with that outfit on, my reaction is to punch him in the face. My reaction is to defend myself from the Klan. You come at me with a Klan's outfit, I'm coming after you because obviously the Klan historically is against me. So I'm looking to punch you in the mouth. But you see who interviewed him. So he doesn't think that way, obviously, because he probably doesn't know who he is as we know who we are and probably don't care about the history of the Klan. And Kanye he needs to go sit down. If you know that you can be put in a hospital because of your outfit, you obviously know there's something wrong with you wearing it. What the fuck is wrong with you, dude? I can understand. No, I can't understand. I don't get it. You want attention that bad?
Right.
I can't fathom doing that to myself. For money, for attention, for clicks or likes, I just can't see it. But again, I don't think I have a mental disorder. I think Kanye has a mental disorder.
I'm your man, UH. Me and you been friends since 85, right? If I turn the corner with a Klan suit on, what's your reaction gonna be?
I'm sure, first of all, I don't even know, because if I know it's you, I gotta run up on you and be like, yo, what the fuck, B? You know what I'm saying? Because I know where your head is at. Like you said, we've been friends since 85. So if you came around the corner with some shit like that on, I'm immediately restraining you and putting you and taking you to Grady. Or what's the joint in Buffalo on Elmwood? What's the joint? 1600 Elmwood? What's the
psychiatric ward? Yeah,
the psychiatric ward, because that's crazy. Anybody with the sense of how Black people work in America would never even do anything close to that, and there's no excuse for it. I don't care what kind of statement you're trying to make. I don't care if you think that it's art or it's flipping the meaning or some deeper esoteric Hindu spiritual. I don't know historical notion. Fuck no, bro. It's no way in the world that a Black man should ever emulate that uniform under no circumstances. You know what I'm saying? Under no circumstances. As much pain is caused. Like, if I was to see a Klansman right now, he would get shot. If a boy think about it. People have Klan rallies and get beat up. There are certain places you can't have a Klan rally. You can't have a Klan rally. They ain't marching on Peachtree like they did 100 years ago. Because it would get shot the fuck up. That's not. Black American people have an instant aversion to the Ku Klux Klan. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much you may or may not know, you know that's a bad thing when you see the Klan hood. It's like the ice cream truck. You know what it is. You know what I'm saying? And for this dude to come out there and satirize it or try to make a statement when so many millions of us have been affected by that, thousands of us has died from that, and it continues to this day without the robe. Man, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, I think Kanye West is by himself, man. I'm sure he doesn't have any friends at this point. Not any true friends at this point. He has employees and hanger-ons. Because he said some disparaging stuff about Jay-Z and Beyonce's kids, calling them, saying that they were special ed kids, retarded. But that's the reason why nobody's ever seen him, because special need kids. He on John Legend, saying John Legend wearing sweaters in Barbados and smells like potatoes. I just like it. His wife divorced him, his second wife.
He had her out there, but he had her out there a-hole naked, boy.
Right. And who would do that to somebody
that they love, right? Subject them to. That's horrible.
You not rap tripe. So then in his interview, he starts making beats, and he's making a beat while he's being interviewed with Akademiks, and people on Twitter and Blue Sky and fan base. He's a genius. I'm like, yo, y'all, something wrong with y'all people.
Yeah, man.
Something is truly wrong with y'all people. If y'all see this man get up and walk across the street with a Klan's outfit on and a Nazi piece, and then you want to next sentence want to say that he's some type of, this is not somebody that you want to emulate or want to give props to, unless you are a Klansman, and the Klansmen don't even want you in that Klan's outfit. A Nazi don't want you wearing a Nazi medallion. You know what I mean? It's just where we are right now. That, you know, what you say, fan worship. The fan worship greater than common sense. This man is disrespecting all types of folks. He's disrespecting Jews and he's disrespecting us as black folks.
Yep.
Man, he disrespecting everybody. If you got a swastika on, if you got a Klan outfit on, you ain't respecting nobody but white people, period. White American men. And if you got a swastika on, that means you're only supporting the over in Germany. Man, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Yeah, he's an idiot. And anybody who's claiming Kanye still to this day, you got issues. You see this man come out the house with a Klan sheet on? It's like, yo. It's like if I saw you, any one of y'all, I'm gonna approach you because you my people first, because I'm gonna try to understand what's going on, what's the meaning, what's the sign, what you doing, and then I'm gonna react to what you say accordingly. And obviously, depending on what you say, our relationship is going to be much different than it was before I saw you with the Klan suit on.
Of course.
Like y'all said earlier, man, this ain't the time and place to be playing. Kanye West, you don't have enough money to be a decent human being and just stay out the way and make music?
Make clothes, shut the fuck up.
It's a damn shame. And speaking of damn shames, man, I want to end this episode. Shout out to Carmelo Anthony, man. The original Carmelo Anthony for getting elected into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Carmelo, Dwight Howard, and I believe Sue Bird, were elected to go into the Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, man, it's another young man's name by the name of Carmelo Anthony who's in the news as well. Let me share that with you, my boys. Here we go.
A teenager accused of stabbing another student athlete at a track meet told officers as he was being taken into custody that he did it in self-defense.
Austin Metcalf was killed this week at that Frisco track meet. New documents detail what happened before and after 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony allegedly pulled a knife from his backpack and stabbed him. Fox 4's Alex Boyer joining us now live with the latest. Alex.
Hey guys, and in that 7-page arrest warrant affidavit, several witnesses, including Metcalf's twin brother, describe how that deadly encounter went down. The suspect then reportedly admitted to a Frisco police officer who detained him that he had stabbed Metcalf.
My son is gone, and I have.
It happens to be Fox News, huh?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, Fox News.
He's just going to be so missed.
The pain is still raw for the Metcalf family after 17-year-old Austin Metcalf was killed on Wednesday morning at a UIL District 11-5A track meet in Frisco.
That dude was extremely smart, always in the ball. She just came to him real easy and just him playing football as well just made him just a great person overall.
Here's what happened according to witnesses and the police report. Metcalf got into an argument with the suspect, 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony, over a seating dispute in the bleachers. Metcalf told Anthony he needed to move from under the team's tent.
He always was one to step up and be the person that would do the right thing. He was doing the right thing by saying to the gentleman that you're not supposed to be in this tent. This is because they have personal items there.
Anthony opened his bag and reached inside and said to Metcalf, "Touch me and see what happens." Metcalf reportedly grabbed Anthony and told him to move.
He knew he wasn't supposed to be there. It was just a tragedy what happened.
That's when Anthony pulled out a black knife and stabbed Metcalf in the chest once before running away. When Anthony was taken into custody by a Frisco police officer, Anthony reportedly confessed to the crime, saying, "He put his hands on me. I told him not to," adding that, "I was protecting myself," and then asked the police officer, "Is he going to be okay?" Metcalf died in his brother's arms.
I'm not at that point to forgive and forget, but eventually I will. But I pray for his family. I pray that they understand what we're going through as well.
This whole community has really wrapped their arms around us, and if I could say anything to the nation, I would say make sure that you just hug your babies tight. Because you don't know when the last time you get to do it.
And in a statement released by the Metcalf family this afternoon, they say their focus is now on laying Austin to rest. Meanwhile, I can tell you that Anthony remains in the Collin County Jail with a $1 million bond. Back to you.
All right, Alex Boyer in Dallas tonight. Alex, thank you.
he in jail for?
Oh my goodness. So you guys need to understand how many people were begging me to do a video on this story. They were just harassing me, bro, just haranguing me. Just, Lucas, you can do a video on this story? It's because the victim's white. You're not gonna do a video on the story, huh? It's because, you hate white people. Isn't that why bro? They were just screaming and hollering because they thought they had the smoking gun when it came to this story. Let me just say this. There are a group of white people who want to be a victim. That's correct. They want to be seen as a victim, even though throughout the entire history of this country, that has never been the case. All right. And they will go out of their way to be this victim. And they will offload all the problems on groups of people, whether it's the Jews or their favorite, the black. Okay. The reason why they didn't get the job, it was a black person. It's DEI. Okay. That's why I didn't get the job. The reason why they didn't get the other job is, the owner is a Jew. That's why they didn't want to give me the job because Jews hate white people. And they will do everything and anything to cope for their inadequacies and why they aren't where they want to be in life. Damn, it just is what it is, okay? And these white people, unfortunately, are very vocal, okay? Very vocal. And those that disagree with them, the white people that disagree with them, well, they're the traitors, okay? They don't understand. The blinds haven't been opened. They're not red pill enough, yada, yada. One thing I do find humorous is that these group of white people, the only time that they care about white lives is when they think that they can blame it on a black person. That's the only time they care about white lives. The only time white lives matter is that they can say, see, it's the black guy. See, we can't live with them. See, they're violent. That's the only time. And I think that's really sick. I think that's really deluded, that you need a black criminal in your eyes to give white life value. That's unfortunate.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Nevertheless, this leads us to this story. And with most stories, there is a forced narrative. And the forced narrative of this story that I came across was there was this innocent white kid, okay? He was a student athlete. And you know what? There was this violent black kid. And this white kid just simply told the black kid, hey, can you move, please? Can you really? Right. We just want you to move, please. That's all we want. And the black kid took out his knife and whoa, right into the white kid, and now the white kid is gone. All right, and he had a brother. Okay, he had a brother, and his brother loved him so much, and the family is devastated. That was the narrative that they pushed forward, and this is typical for what they do. This is their MO. They love pushing forward a false narrative before the real narrative comes out. They did this. Y'all remember Ahmaud Arbery? Oh, he had a hammer. Oh, he was looting and robbing. Oh my gosh, this is okay. It was self-defense for the white guy. Oh my God, this guy was a criminal. He attacked them. And they will run with that story. That will be the first thing they do. They push it out. They push the narrative out because they want to get ahead of the truth. Because as we know, once it goes to court, that's when we get discovery. That's when we get the facts and the evidence. And that's when their narratives fall apart. And during that time, just as with this story, they will either A, switch it up. Okay, they'll move the goalposts, or B, they'll lose interest because now it doesn't fit their narrative. It doesn't fit their more black narrative. So that's what we're seeing right now. That's what we're seeing right now is that people, upon more evidence coming out of what transpired that day, people are starting to lose interest because now it's showing that, this kid wasn't just some angry black kid. The white kid wasn't just some innocent white kid who just happened to fall on a knife. That's not what happened. So as more information comes out, what seems to be the story that we've gathered thus far is that these kids were a bunch of bullies. You have witnesses who are saying that they were the ones that initiated this whole interaction. They initiated and they were the aggressors. And the black kid is claiming self-defense is what he originally claimed. That is seeming to be more likely true. Okay. Now we'll find out once we go to court and everything's laid out on the table. But you had a family member saying, hey, there's video of this. Okay. There's video of this and don't fall for the race baiting. Now, when we talk about race baiting, I always find it funny that you can't race bait in the other direction. Has anyone ever noticed that? It comes a white person and you say, it's the blacks, man. This black kid is horrible. They got a cultural problem. This is why we got to deal with the blacks and everything. They don't consider that race baiting. They'll never consider that race baiting. But when you say, hey, why did this white kid hurt this black kid? Or why did this white husband completely destroy his black wife or something like that? Then that's when the accusations of race baiting come. Why are you race baiting? Why are you race baiting? Huh? Why are you such a race baiter, huh? What are you, a little race hustler? I always find Because I'm like, oh, so you can only race bait in one direction. And the direction is something that criticizes this particular group of white people for doing acts of crime, acts of violence, because it falls in direct contrast to the narrative that they want to put out there. As with everything else, right? They want to, when it comes to 1350, they want to look at one aspect, but completely ignore as far as those who are let free off of false arrests, off of false convictions. They want to ignore all that. They want to ignore all the other crimes. That's the only crime, homicide or whatnot. So you have to understand they want to frame this world in favor of them. It will always be in favor of them, but at the same time, simultaneously, they're always the victim. It's a weird conundrum. I'm not gonna lie. It's a weird conundrum. Okay. Damn. That's what seems to be this story. Is that this kid came out in self-defense, and you had one incident where it says, hey, touch me again, or come at me again, and see what happens. Now, what happens? The kid, the high IQ, this is what they want to say, according to the racists, the high IQ, pattern recognized, per capita elitist, what does he do? He goes and touches the kid again. And sure enough, this is the ultimate, from what it seems, the FAFO. F around and found out, and he found out, and now he's no longer with us. And for some reason, I'm supposed to feel bad about this. And just so we're clear, if the races were reversed, I'd say the same thing. But at the same time, I don't know a lot of black kids that someone else were to reach into the bag and say, hey, you come at me again and see what happens. I don't know a lot of black kids who would go, that's not just being in this country. That's not.
Yeah, my boys. I wanted to share that with you because that happened earlier this week on my TL line. And I'm sorry that cat had lost his life, and condolences to his family. But if what he says is true, and like the other witnesses tweeted out that the brothers were bullies. Now, we know some twins, right? We all grew up with a set of twins. And we all know when shit go down, the twins gonna be together.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever happens. You know what I'm saying? What'd you say?
Chris and Christopher over from Blankfield.
Man, Mick and Rick from Kensington Ave. You know what I'm saying?
For real.
You know what I'm saying? It's just what it does. And obviously, these football players, we've all been around football players too. You know, European football players have a real false sense of themselves and what they got going on. And then to show them on Fox News, we all know where Fox News was taking this, huh, P?
Yeah, Fox News, sensationalism at its finest. Black versus white. Let's rile up the bases. I've been in a situation before a few years ago where a guy I was with supposedly it was his girl at the time. What you doing with my girl? I'm like, I told her, you better talk to him, because if he put his hands on me, it's going to be a problem. I'm not going to start. I don't start trouble, but I finish it. You know what I'm saying? And he put his hands on me, and he needed security after that. Condolences to the family. No one, to lose a son and a twin has to be horrible. But what they've done is their sons develop the attitudes of their parents, who seem like they may have some caring in them. If this young black man was in an area he was supposed to be in, it's not your job to get him out of that area. Call security. Who are you to put your hands on him? If the kid told you, see what happens if you touch me again, because he must have put his hands on him once. So he got a warning after that. So fuck around and find out, like the gentleman was saying, who is that, bro? That guy.
Lucas is just Instagram YouTuber.
Oh, shout out to him, because he was on point with everything that he said. I appreciate that. But again, condolences to the family, but your son put himself in a position to be unalive.
Bring it home, UH.
The problem with this situation is actually goes back to what I said before, media. White boys, especially in a situation where they feel comfortable in a group setting, get that superhero complex. Yeah, let me go ahead and put it such and such in their place. You know what I mean? This is ours, and so on and so forth. And they become very territorial to the point where they become aggressive. You know what I mean? I've very seldomly seen an aggressive white boy by himself. Actually, the only time I've ever seen that I was thinking about this the other night, bro. Remember me and the white dude fought in the corner of Minnesota and Suffolk? Was you there? Remember that night? I fought the white boy from Lisbon, and he spit on me. Yeah, the boy spit on me and called me a nigga. My mom came down and all this.
I wasn't out there.
Yeah, you had to be out there.
I smoked that, yo.
Yeah, you smoked that one. Me, you, Driz, I forgot who else was. Maybe Shay. It was late night.
Y'all shot the Fairmont on the corner.
Yeah, we shot the Fairmont by my house. Right by my house. Yeah. Anyway, that's the only white boy I've seen being on some. Yo, you know what? I don't care how many of y'all black dudes is over here. I'm still gonna say what I gotta say and do what I gotta.
I'm fucking American, man.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Usually they ain't about shit unless they in the group. Yeah. I'm being dead ass. I've never really seen a white boy just go hog wild except for that one. I think it's a situation where, like they said, he messed around and he found out that that dude was not playing about what he said. Don't put your hands on me, man. You can talk all the shit you want. Like we said, we from Buffalo. We don't like people talking shit to us. But we understand the difference between if someone puts their hands on you. If somebody puts their hands on you, you don't know what they'll do to you. You can take it as a threat. And especially with a group of white boys, I'm in fear of my life. Okay, do it again. Do it again and see what happens. You know what? Lights out, the man told you what it was. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing about it. People are so pompous and so arrogant and so filled with ego that they don't even realize that reality hits. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it hits hard to the point where it ends your reality. You know what I mean? I never want to see anybody go through any pain and suffering, especially a child. But I'm not, and I find it very hard to find sympathy for a black dude killing a white person when I'm sure the number reversed and the ratio is something we can't even imagine.
Yeah, man. As they say, F around and find out. Carmelo Anthony. Hold your head, man. Hold your head.
What celebrities need to do, or people who can afford, is they need to make sure he get a good defense
lawyer.
You know what I'm saying? So that all this talking, arguing back and forth online is one thing, but that boy really gonna need a nice lawyer because number one, it's a national case at this point. You know what I'm saying? Number two, it's a black man killing a white boy. You know what I'm saying? A black boy killing a white boy, but they're looking at it as a black man killing a white boy. If you understand the language I use. So we need to gather up and make sure he's supported.
I don't know what's going on, if it's a solar eclipse going on in Atlanta, but went dark on us.
Yeah, you know what it is? We just got a mean thunderstorm that just rolled in. Hold on one second. Let me get
probably the storms that left Nashville on their way over.
Exactly. He knew they was coming his way because that's where they go. They go from Drew here down there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, before we go ahead and wrap this up, there you go. Carmelo, the real Carmelo, you might want to just send them a Vine or something because it ain't no doubt who this boy was
named after, right?
You know what I mean? P, what you got for us before we roll?
Yeah, I want to talk about just a little something about success and how we kind of chase after success. I just want my people out there to know that success is not owned, it's rented. And the rent is not due monthly, it's due daily. That's just for men of a certain age, man. A little something sweet for the soup.
I like it. Now, UH, we're going to come to you in C74. What you got for us?
A quick Atlanta update. They got everybody's bracing, quote unquote, for the RICO charges against Little Baby. Yeah, everybody's bracing for that down here. And also last week, Fonnie Willis tried to have Young Thug's 15-year probation revoked because he commented on a post on Twitter.
Stop.
Yeah, she really did.
Why is Young Thug out here commenting? When he got this 15-year basing
for murder,
it was a trap.
Right.
Dude, shut the F up and live your life.
Right.
Listen, man, boys want it. Like I said, that attention, like we said earlier, we have been saying since the beginning of the pod, that attention is the most powerful drug out right now. You know what I mean? And he still wants to be relevant, and he still wants to deal with the Atlanta politics, even though he's not even allowed to live in Georgia. And he has to have special permission to come back to Georgia outside of his probation. It's just like we talked about last week, man. Leave things where they are. Leave certain things where they are. We need to get to a point as a people when we realize that we have bigger fish to fry. Some things just aren't worth it. And to focus on what's really important, which is us, our community.
Yes, sir.
I love it. I love it. Once again, man, on this Sunday,
Oh,
Y'all
Don,
not gonna let me live that down. I see. I'm never gonna live that down.
On this 7th day of the week. You know what I'm saying? It's always good to tap in with my fellas, man. I hope y'all have a prosperous week. Stay out the way, like I know y'all do, because man, it's a war going on outside.
No man's safe
from. That's right.
You know what I mean? So guard your grill and knuckle up. And as always, it's the same old soup. We just reheating it. Until next Sunday, man. Go Gamecocks.
Go Cox.
Go Cox, baby. Go Gamecocks. Peace, peace, peace.
Later, y'all.